Alright, so we'll just able to continue things on for this point, and hopefully we'll try to deal with the forms of those cavemen's armored kind of enemies like those. So hopefully we should deal with all the rest of it. So anyway, before we get into that though, on the other hand though, we'll try to deal with the forms of oh gosh, that's the fake Ginger, so let's not worry about that right now. So although there was actually that armored caveman that we can able to deal with, but the only thing that's questionable with this though is the fact that we need to aim this within the well, the clockwork Kazooie eggs, and because of that though, you have to be so accurate with all that aiming shot as you can see right there on screen. So hopefully we'll try our best if we're able to can do this, although sometimes that my aiming radical aiming adjustable thing wasn't exactly the most elegant thing in the world, I must be honest. But anyway, we'll strike him in the back, and let's see how many we've got left. Okay, so there's literally only 3 left. So I believe you have to do it within like 5 of those caveman armored enemies, I'm pretty sure. So because of that though, once you deal with all that, I believe you get a Jiggy if you deal with all 5 of them. So, and that reminds me, since I somehow didn't actually do it the proper way of trying to deal with that caveman there, so I suppose we should probably be able to try this again, but this time around though, we know exactly what we're gonna do. We have to aim in its back, so that's the whole entire purpose of this though, so hopefully we should be able to do this again. Rather than going in front, we have to aim at this back, so there we go. Alright, I believe we've only got 2 of them left, so hopefully that should be down by them. So, well, I have no idea why it's saying things weirdly enough all of a sudden, but either way, it knows where it stands. So, anyway, a few things I want to explain, and that's the fact that today's day is, of course, the 20th of September today, in this case in 2021 today. And, yeah, remember I mentioned this before, ever since on Friday, about the fact the matter is though, is that recently Mario Kart Tour is going to be coming up for the next tour, and that will have to be by the forms of the 2nd anniversary tour. Meaning, the game has been out for about, well, 2 years since when it first came out in 2019. So because of that though, and well, I do suppose I'll let Jewel will mention more details about the forms of Mario Kart Tour when she goes back onto Mario Party 6 until when she goes onto the 4th board, because as a result, ever since yesterday, along with the forms of Saturday as well, she basically managed to win her favorite board in Mario Party 6, which is Fair Square, which I can definitely see why that most people seem to always enjoy Fair Square, because that was actually just the best board in Mario Party 6, which I honestly agree, because obviously that board is so unique. So, anyway, now we deal with another caveman armored enemy, and we can probably guarantee that we can able to find the last one. So hopefully we'll try to find out as soon as we can, but either way though, we'll try to able to investigate that until what if we get into that specific stuff. So, excuse me, I've got something on my throat there, I do apologize for that. So, I don't suppose, if I recall correctly, is the fact that, maybe potentially, that I think I got all of the music notes in this world, although, truth be told, I wasn't paying attention, just because I know it has been 3 days since I actually, like, oh, actually, yeah, it's about 3 days ago, actually, since I've last played this, so, but, it knows where it stands, so, anyway, and, I suppose another thing I should probably explain about this as well, in regards to the forms of Mario Kart Tour in the 2nd anniversary tour, I'm pretty certain that, it might actually take place in most of the cities, ranging from New York Minute, or something, or even maybe the forms of Tokyo Blur, or any other city-based levels and stuff like that, based off from different regions and all that stuff. Again, we'll find out at some point in this Wednesday, so, and that will be on the 22nd of September, so either way though, because chances are, that relatively speaking about the fact that, well, usually because of how the fact that, I don't know what character they might bring us into, in terms of the forms of, well, the 2nd anniversary tour, which, by that time is the fact that, well, at this point is the fact that the Sydney tour is almost finished, so, well, despite the Sydney tour is alright, I mean, usually, relatively speaking, the only, drawback with that, though, is the fact that I still cannot, for the life of me, can never seem to get some of these special rare character cosmetics during the course of the actual random luck-based gacha moments. Like, I still haven't got Kangaroo Yoshi, or Koala Baby Mario, or Cat Toad. So because of that, though, I still have no luck by able to actually get those godforsaken characters. So, which is kind of sucks if you ask me, because although sometimes that certain characters do have their slight disadvantages for certain items and stuff, like, I probably would have mentioned that the coin block will obviously gives you a whole bunch of coins, in addition to the event coins as well. So, either way though, we'll just see what happens throughout. And, well, actually, kind of think about it. Speaking of the forms of these event coins, you can now able to actually see the actual, the total amount of those event coins at any point in the menus now. So because of that though, rather than being locked up by the forms of the event shop, because now you can able to actually see it in any other modes. So yeah, that seems pretty cool, especially noticeable how the updates managed to come into play. So yeah, that might actually be the good part about the actual the update at the moment. But I still really hope they were able to actually fix something, ranging from I would say like better controls, like usually doing a steering and driving on the way at the very bottom of the screen, and then use the item in the majority of the top screen itself, or the actual like the middle portion of the screen, or the top portion, which is currently unknown at the moment, just because, well, I know for the fact that, well, I have played a game loads of times already, even though, mind you, I'm still pretty much used to with Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, because that game has much more better controls than Tour, because I'm not gonna lie, it's actually pretty stiff, and also trying to deal with the forms of mini turbos is pretty unreliable most of the time, so I don't know, it's probably just me anyway, so anyway, so now let's go ahead and take control of Mumbo Jumbo to able to enlarge, not one, but two things. Like, for instance, we can able to enlarge the stepping stones, so that way we can now finally able to actually just try to go across these stepping stones without even getting munched by the forms of those specific stuff right there. But that doesn't end off here, because we need to able to enlarge, let's just say, Wumba's tent. And because of that though, remember the forms of one of those transformations we've already transformed into? Well, turns out that if we manage to enlarge Wumba's tent, then this will pretty much guaranteed able to grow this thing into size, and that way we can now able to actually just to classify for able to upgrade the actual similar transformation, but in the majority of it, it's going to be more accurately like a huge transformation, which you'll see why as soon as we're able to transform back into T-Rex again. Yeah, I say T-Rex because obviously the transformation is exactly the same, aside from the fact that with a different size and everything, so but I digress. Oh, another thing I want to point out is the fact that recently that in the Tokyo Game Show now finally listed Sega and athletes. So yeah, that should be interesting to able to noticing this, especially about the fact that we can able to actually see some more footage on. Ah, shoot! You've got to be kidding me. Hold on a second, guys. Okay, sorry about that. I have to connect my Xbox Live connection again. So, yeah, sometimes it can be pretty temperamental at times. So anyways, here we go with the forms of a equivalent transformation, and Humbo Wumbo is actually huge too. So, yeah, now we actually become a full T-Rex. So, basically, controls-wise is exactly like baby T-Rex, except you're huge. So yeah, that's the only differences there. So hopefully we're able to try to walk around and what have you, while trying to able to search around for those little goodies and stuff. I do know there was actually an achievement in this by simply able to take down, I would say 20 enemies with either like T-Rex or pants or just anything. So either way though, we can able to actually try to, although to be fair, when it comes to doing with those achievements, because mind you, I didn't exactly get one on Witchy World, but that's only because, well, I somehow didn't get that much enough points for that balloon game. But hopefully I'll be back for it as soon as we get to the extra video, much like the forms of how it does it on the original Banjo-Kazooie game. So hopefully I might as well do that, but I have no idea why I just trying to able to say about this right now, because I know for the fact that, well, I would like to mention other things. Well, I've already mentioned quite a few things, like, for instance, that, you know, the Mario Kart Tour 2nd Anniversary Tour is up, until specifically on, you know, this Wednesday in particular, and also Sega and athletes are now on to the Tokyo Game Show, which I suppose the Tokyo Game Show is about to start until specifically on the 1st of October, just about a week before. Not only Metroid Dread comes out on the Nintendo Switch, and also the Switch OLED model, but also with the forms of the new Pokemon film, Pokemon the Movie 23, Secrets of the Jungle, which, you know, we're very glad that we're actually going back into 2D animation again, because obviously, unlike 2019 technically in Japan, and then 2020 in English version, that's it's completely in CGI, which yeah, I must admit though right away is the fact that I'm not a big fan of the remake of the first film, because honestly I think I've probably stuck with the forms of the animated 2D animated counterparts because of my nostalgia and such. Although, the only thing that's kind of different than the original though is the fact that with the voice actor for Ash is completely different, which that's to be expected of such, so... Anyway, so let's go ahead and hit back into... Oh, jeez Louise, man. So much health, damage input right there. Okay, let's see if we can get ourselves a... I don't know, this is gonna be slow! Yep, it's definitely much more slower than before. But, luckily, we've respawned onto that particular split pad, so thankfully we can able to try this again. So thankfully the checkpoints doesn't feel that stingy though. Although the only time it does save you after dying is that you can either just... Well, I think the only option you can able to actually make things a bit... Oh, good grief. Okay. We only got a little bit of a distance left, but thankfully we somehow made it. So, anyways, let's activate the cage for Kazooie only and able to rescue another blue Jinjo. So, yeah, that seems something else. Although we could able to do one for Banjo there, but I believe we do need a specific upgrade or the actual ability in order to able to continue further up ahead. So, we'll try to sort that out. But anyway, and another thing I want to point out is the fact that according to rumors out there, which I know that we always never gonna trust rumors out there, because obviously with rumors can able to ruin the experience for most gamers out there. Especially noticeable about the fact that, well, at this point in time, that we pretty much guaranteed that we've almost wrapped things up completely of September. So as a result though, we can able to discuss on that one particular rumor part. That will have to be by the forms of something related to the Nintendo 64 games might possibly come into Nintendo Switch online membership service or something, like kind of like how it did on the NES and Super Nintendo. Although, excuse me, we didn't get one in the forms of 2020 because, you know, 2020 sucks. But regardless of everything else though, is the fact that we can probably guarantee we can able to move on to the next system for the online membership services, which, if it's true, then I might as well be hyped for it. Especially noticeable, I can't wait to try out some other new games I can possibly try out, but then again, it's all about speculations at the moment, and plus some rumors, so yeah, I honestly just think that the rumor stuff gets really old really fast, especially noticeable how they start to do this continuously since during the forms of in the past, but I have no idea. I think the rumors just actually ruins the experiences overall, because sometimes they're able to try to constantly fake you out every now and then, and also most of it... Oh, come on! Why is my... Oh, my internet's going worse again. Hold on. Okay, another jump cut, especially noticeable that I somehow managed to fix it again, so... Anyways, let's do a hatchy thing right there, and that way we can able to actually rescue one of those precious babies for Terry right there. So, yeah, this is what the hatch ability can do, is the fact that, assuming if you ever play this on the Xbox various systems, if you manage to go on top of the, and any eggs, basically, well, not just any, like, collectible eggs, but to be more specifically, a newborn baby egg hatching eggs. So as a result, if you go on top and you have to like hold down the trigger buttons and then press the X button at the same time, and that way you would be able to actually activate the hatching, and that way you would able to actually free one of the babies out of the actual like a newborn eggs and stuff like that. So yeah, I guess that makes it pretty obvious of how can I explain the forms of that ability can do. So anyways, let's head in here into the Ooga Boogalies cave, and looks like that those other cavemen are pretty chilling, and especially noticeable how they are freezing cold. So good thing we've managed able to get ourselves these fire eggs, so that way we can able to heat up some wood fire, because that's why they're just doing that. Well, at least one of them anyway, so hopefully we'll try to deal with all that. So, and I believe there might be another egg, or the new, or another dinosaur egg I should say, or a pterodactyl egg might be around in here somewhere too, so. But anyway, and I suppose another thing I should probably like discuss on something as well, that only 4 more days to go until specifically the My Little Pony and New Generation on Netflix is coming. So yeah, it's getting close. It is definitely getting close. Especially that also another music video just came up on the forms of likely 3 days ago, and it's alright, which I suppose that well, that explains about the fact that I definitely recognize the theme of what the song is actually gonna call it, but turns out it is being revealed, and well, I gotta say, it does look pretty catchy though, I'm not gonna lie. Even then though, that we haven't exactly seen the film yet, until specifically 4 days time on Netflix. So, whilst unlike in some different portions of different countries, they managed to get on the cinemas, but most of our countries, mainly in the UK, were pretty much stuck with Netflix, much like the forms of the SpongeBob SquarePants movie Sponge on the Run, but every once in a while, every now and then, that the film is now finally coming into DVD until the 8th of November, despite the fact that I felt pretty much mixed on with that particular film. Unlike the first SpongeBob movie and the second one, I think the second one is actually the better of the 3, still, just because of how the fact that, well, obviously Plankton is actually working for SpongeBob and all that stuff in the actual the movie for once, which is pretty cool. Whilst the first film is good, but personally speaking, I think the second one is easily the best of the 3. Although I will say the third one, well, despite the, well, a pretty good presentation with the visuals and everything, however, the story is a little bit let down. It's basically a rehash of one of those episodes in Season 4, I believe. Even though, mind you, it has been quite a long time since I actually watched SpongeBob stuff. Especially noticeable because, obviously, that particular show is now becoming 22 years old, which, yeah, I can't even believe time itself just went flying by. So, anyway, and I suppose another thing I want to point out as well, that I managed to able to get back into what we were getting together on a Switch recently, so that way I can able to accomplish certain missions, even though, mind you, some of these missions can get either pretty easy at points, although the majority of them can be pretty tough though, especially you have to deal with the ridiculous amount of high scores, and even especially noticeable, you always have to play the multiplayer games in there as well. So, yeah, chances are that's going to be one of those situations about that, although the replayability is there, so either way though, you probably expect it by that point. So, anyways, let's head out here and, well, continue searching for some other stuff to do. Although, mind you, about the fact that I believe that, actually kind of think about it, about the fact that, I would like to mention about the fact that with, also, there might be another rumor out there, although, sure enough, I don't usually trust rumors as much, that, apparently also, along with the N64, games, might come into the Switch Online membership service, if it's possible. Also about the fact that they might actually reveal the actual controller for it, much like the forms of the NES, online membership services, or the Super Nintendo one as well. respectively. Like, both of these controllers are wireless and all that stuff. Mind you, on the NES controllers, they can able to attach them onto the actual Switch system. Although, unlike the Super Nintendo version, that's basically it's all like just wireless only, rather than connected to the actual Switch itself. I'm not exactly sure if it's possible on the N64 controller, because mind you, that the N64 controller only has 3 grips, like one of them on the left, one on the right, and a one in the middle, which actually allows you to able to take control of the control stick itself. So, well, despite the fact that the Nintendo 64 controller wasn't exactly, like, built for this type of motion, like, I have no idea why I say things like that. Mind you, I keep thinking of Mario Party's infamous minigames when it comes to rotating the control stick minigames, which are, you know, Paddle Battle and Tug of War, which I still have no idea why that minigame does make a comeback twice. Like, one in the top 100, because otherwise it'll just break the circle pad a lot easier if you play it furiously. Although, mind you, that we only play that, like, one time during the course of the actual Let's Play of the game, specifically only for once during the course of Minigame Island, and that's pretty much about it. And, as for the Superstars though, that it might actually cause a Joy-Con drift if you play it like furiously, which it might actually worry some gamers out there, which I still have no idea why. So anyway, so now we've opened up the next Terrydactyl egg that we've managed to able to open and hatch. So yeah, I'm presuming we've only got one more egg to hatch, so hopefully we'll try to find out exponentially. So yeah, we'll definitely find out if we can. So, and I suppose the last thing, or potentially quite a few things I would like to discuss, but aside from that, that's pretty much as far as I can say. Although, for what I've seen new forms of although, kind of think about it, I managed able to recently rewatch some of these James Bond films recently, on my own time anyway, so I can able to caught up with, like, well, for instance, we've only, well, in the UK anyway, I've only got about 10 days to go until that particular film finally comes out on the big screen, which I'm still dying to see it. Especially noticeable about the fact that although I've almost caught up to the rest of the rewatched series of the James Bond films, especially that recently I finished watching GoldenEye yesterday, which is still is my favorite film. Well, along with well, let's just say you know, Goldfinger, along with The Spy Who Loved Me, and well, License to Kill from Timothy Dalton, and also on top of that, On Her Majesty's Secret Service, Skyfall, and Casino Royale. So either way though, those films are top notch. And especially with well, Dr. No, and From Russia with Love, and you get the idea. So either way though, because of that though, the next film I was hoping to try to watch is Tomorrow Never Dies. Although the film itself is good, despite the villain is actually the weakest villains throughout the whole entire series, along with Mr. Green from the likes of Quantum of Solace. But regardless of such though, I can see why the majority of the James Bond films never seem to really keen on Quantum of Solace, although some fans might actually have their own different opinions. But for me though, I think I would guarantee about the fact that I think my favorite James Bond film will probably have to be... It's a tough choice between the forms of Goldfinger or Skyfall, but to me, I think Skyfall will be the best film ever. Well, top notch, as a matter of fact. So, yeah, you get the idea. Okay, sorry for another jump cut. It turns out that I have to able to crouch and then tilt the right analog stick on the left, or tilt the right analog or thumbstick from the left, and that way I can able to actually activate the taxi pack. And that's what it usually does. Basically, if you're coming towards the heavy kind of characters, like the forms of that particular baby Terrydactyl right there, and basically, if you're trying to able to crouch and then tilt the right analog stick to the left, then Banjo can able to have the ability to able to carry the actual backpack, and then press the X button to able to actually just to place certain stuff in his backpack. And, well, if you want to able to get some stuff out, basically you have to be able to crouch and then tilt the right analog stick or the right thumbstick to the left again. And that way, you can get certain things out. So, yeah, that's how this ability works. And especially noticeable that it almost reminds me of the forms of using, like, gold feathers in the forms of this game, along with Banjo-Kazooie as well. So, yeah, that's as far as I can usually think about it. In fact, yeah, let's get back into another discussion about the James Bond stuff again. Although, I will have to admit, though, is that my least favorite film of the entire James Bond film series, it might actually be, I must be honest here, I think, personally speaking, A View to a Kill just disappoints me. Although, I would originally say Quantum of Solace, but it's just the fact that I think A View to a Kill just makes me feel like I was being Snorefest, because there's not much action going on here. Well, there is some, but nothing, like, energetically, like, action-packed or anything. And, I don't know if it's just me, or maybe I'm just being nitpicking, but it's just the fact that I just found that film kind of Snorefest to me. In fact, let me know in the comments below for the question of the day. What is your absolute favorite James Bond films you've ever seen? Or especially noticeable, what is your least favorite Bond films you've ever seen? Because I'd like to hear your thoughts. Although, mind you, it might not be the cup of tea for most people out there. Especially noticeable because obviously that it was quite popular in the UK. Because obviously that was with this recognizable faces in the past, ranging from, you know, Sean Connery and George Lazenby, and also Roger Moore, and Timothy Dalton, and even Pierce Brosnan, and of course Daniel Craig. So yeah, that might be something as such. So, but yeah, let's just go ahead and deal with some more stuff here and there, such as, for instance, that I believe the forms of this particular mission objective is the fact that we can either do two different things, like, although, let's just say, I think we should probably do 3 things at a time for this next mission. Like, for instance, one of the baby dinosaurs is the fact that one of them is actually kind of ill at the moment, and another one is actually, like, somewhat super tiny and small. And remember the forms of that one particular dinosaur we've actually rescued from, ever since in Witchy World, that we managed able to free her from the likes of the forms of one of those prison sections, by simply able to use the grenade egg. And also you need to activate the forms of the train station, and then afterwards though, you would able to actually give her a lift. And that way, you would able to actually just, well, you see what I mean, and so whenever we're able to get onto that specific stuff. So, anyways, I suppose the first thing we want to do, and that is the fact that maybe we can probably get started with, maybe Mumbo Jumbo first, because obviously that's, well, we were expecting if we would be able to actually just do the train station first, but we'll try to take care of the forms of Mumbo Jumbo section first, or specifically that particular thing first. So, yeah, we'll probably take care of that first to begin with. So, anyway, let's just go ahead and go back up, and then just trying to use the actual warp pad to outside of the actual Mumble Skull, and hopefully we should be able to actually use him. And another thing I want to mention about this as well is that recently Pokemon Unite downloads has surpassed 9 million downloads, so I guess that makes it obvious for how you know, between the forms of it doesn't matter if it's on a mobile phone or the Nintendo Switch, I think it's doing pretty well when it comes to digital downloads, I think. So, yeah, I can totally see that. So, anyway, so, and I suppose another thing I should probably explain about this as well, that the THQ Nordic Digital Showcase is going to be on live until, well, I think suffice to say is the fact that I think it's gonna due out at some point in today or something like that. Yeah, I think no, it did happen during the forms of on Friday actually, which I honestly forgot to tell you about that. Although I would like to mention about it until specifically, let's just say on Friday, until the same day as when obviously the My Little Pony A New Generation film is about to come out on Netflix, so yeah, I think it's probably best to save that up for when it comes to mentioning that. So, especially noticeable about the fact that, well, talking of which though actually, Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl is about to be saying that DLC is confirmed and may add voice acting until later on throughout the majority of, until the final product of, or the final version of the game, if possible, which I'm pretty sure that game will still about to be coming out until in October, perhaps? At least as far as I'm guessing correctly. Actually, couldn't think about it. I think this is the wrong method I actually did right there, so hold on a second, guys. Okay, another jump code right there. Especially noticeable that I've managed to go back on top of the mountain and go back slightly downwards, and because of that, we need to... Oh, did I seriously miss that? Oh, wait a second. Ah, dang it. Alright, so second attempt, here we go. Although, to make matters worse, is the fact that if I fell down, that'll cost me a death. Yep, it cost me a death, so hold on a second. Alright, third attempt while doing this particular jump, especially noticeable about the fact that, wow, again, the good news is the fact that you can able to use the warp pads, so that way you don't have to able to backtrack for a bit. And there we go, I think that'll work. Especially noticeable that despite I've lost two wages of health at the moment, but that's okay, because either way though, we still managed to survive after that nasty fall, although there was actually that particular cheat that I would like to discuss upon until specifically on Wednesday, because I don't think I can mention about that right now. So anyways, let's enlarge the dinosaur fella right there, so that way it'll try to match the exact same size as one of the dinosaur childs right here. So in this case, we've actually already accomplished one right there. So the next dinosaur we'll have to sort out, and that is the fact that, well, as I mentioned this before, we have to deal with the forms of that particular cure for that particular dinosaur over there on the yellow one. But we'll deal with that later, just because obviously that's all we need to do now is the fact that we need to switch over back to Banjo and Kazooie. So hopefully we'll try to able to sort that out. So. Oh yeah, and I suppose another thing I want to explain is the fact that recently Monster Hunter Rise has managed to able to actually just revealed that Roll from Mega Man series actually makes their debut on the actual in the forms of that particular costume or something? I have no idea. I know it has been such a long time since I actually seen some footage on Monster Hunter Rise. At least the game did sell pretty dang well. Still, because it was obviously exclusively to the Switch, so at least I'm assuming so anyway. So yeah, apparently Roll is going to be in the game until specifically on this Friday, the same day as when My Little Pony: A New Generation is going to be up, and yeah, everything's goes all nicely fine and dandy and everything. So anyways, let's go ahead and find a train station, because now we can able to actually do some more stuff there. Although first of all, we need to double check of what's beyond. Actually, kind of thinking about it, we'll need to head back into that particular thing in there first, specifically the family cave, and hopefully we'll able to try to find the split up stuff. But first of all, let me grab some more honey combs to able to actually increase our health in case if we don't die again. Although, luckily though, there's no way you can get a game over. The only time you can get a game over is that when you pause the game and then just choose exit game. As opposed to in the original game, you can either do both, either exiting the game or run out of lives. So, but at least thankfully the life system has been muted in this particular game, so that's good. So anyways, now we need to able to do a split up between Banjo and Kazooie, so that way we'll let Banjo can do a lot of job there by simply able to actually use the actual taxi pack to able to actually deliver one of those NPC characters onto specific destinations that we can go to. So hopefully we'll try to sort that out. So anyway, and I would like to mention about other stuff I want to able to address, but either way though, I've already explained about this quite enough. So anyway, so let's head into that train station, and we're gonna ignore that fake Jinjo at this point, because obviously that Jinjo is fake. So anyways, let's get into that specific train billboard, and, well, call Chiva, or Chiefly, from the likes of the Isle of Heeks and the actual cliff top, and then, well, after the forms of that particular, like, I don't know what you would call it, but anyway, so, let's just see if the train is managed able to get into that particular world. So since we still managed able to got that familiar dinosaur fella from the likes of Witchy Worlds that we've rescued, well, if you do that though, then before you get into this particular world, this will actually happen. That she'll obviously try to able to meet up with her mom, and then obviously we'll watch this particular cinematic scene by able to actually just to let her run straight into her mom, and well, we're basically done there. But of course, that's we're not exactly done with this particular Jiggy yet though, just because obviously that we still need to take care of the illness dinosaur first before we get the Jiggy. So hopefully we'll try to deal with all that stuff. So in this case, we need to hit inside that particular thing right there, in this case by the forms of inside Chuffy's wagon. So we'll put her there just in case no spread of the germs, or in this case the prequel to forget it. Forget what I just said, because obviously we're not gonna mention that C word ever again. Especially notice it was a good thing that Nintendo just think that is an inappropriate word from, you know, trying to able to enter in that C word on the actual name user. So yeah, because obviously that we're not allowed to able to mention that ever again. Well, most of the time. So anyways, now let's take control of Kazooie. As soon as we're able to actually go ahead and go back to Banjo here, and then collide two of them together. And since we actually got her on board, and we can probably head back onto Clifftop, because remember with the forms of that glow bow that we've already managed able to found during the course of any forms of the Clifftop portion of Isle of Heeks, well, turns out that we can now able to actually use the glow bow on that particular portion, on that particular Mumbo Skull hut. And this means we can able to actually now take control of Mumbo in the entire massive hub world. So, in this case though, that we still got that particular, you know, Mumbo pad that we can able to actually interact with and stuff like that. So, hopefully we'll deal with all that. Oh, and another thing I want to mention about this as well, that although I may be considerably wrong, that usually I think, relatively speaking, that actually I must be honest, I have no idea what I'm supposed to say right now, because oh yeah, aside from the fact that recently in Japan, well, it wasn't until likely in November or something, recently Nintendo has just announced there's going to be the Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword HD soundtrack. So, yeah, that does look pretty cool though. It also managed able to get the, well, let's just say a pretty cool music box, which actually signifies the actual, the main theme of the actual, like, I would say, whenever you're able to, like, imagine if you're able to actually start the game on the Wii version, that if you're trying to click the channel and stuff, you know, it goes like, do 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 do, you know, with the actual harp melody. Well, turns out that they actually recreate that particular theme on the music box. So yeah, that seems pretty cool. And we still haven't heard from the likes of the forms of how well the Switch is doing sales-wise, but hopefully we'll mention more about it until maybe until in November or October. Well, it really depends on it, honestly, because, well, I know for the fact that it has been a while since we actually mentioned something like this, since I would say in August or something, because, well, mind you, because of how the fact that we're actually kind of busy during the summer and stuff like that, so... Anyway, so now we've actually cured one of those NPC dinosaurs and stuff like that, so she's now feeling much better. So now we can now able to actually switch back to Banjo and Kazooie, and hopefully we would be able to actually just to deliver her back onto the 5th world. So, and I believe that we're pretty much done for the most part of the 5th world. Mind you, there might be still missing, so we might be missing some parts of the, you know, Terrydactyland, and because of that though, we are practically going to be still missing, I would say 2 Jiggies left, which we'll double check on the actual the view totals list until specifically later down the road, once we're able to actually completely done with like some portions of that particular world in mind. So, and I suppose I want to mention about the last thing I want to mention, and that's the fact that I think, relatively speaking, about the fact that, well, I can't even believe it's been about like, oh, I don't know, like almost like 4 years ago since when well, generally speaking, with that My Little Pony the movie 2017 version has been came out, like, well, it wasn't until specifically until the 6th of October in the US and 20th of October on the UK that that particular film will become 4 years old, along with Super Mario Odyssey. So, but yeah, that's as far as I can say for this point, guys. Although I have mentioned a little bit worth noting for, but it's just the fact that, well, although, again, I will mention more about the forms of the THQ presentation until the later day, because obviously I would like to mention more about it during today, but of course that I seem to go into a pretty much in a rushed point worth noting for commentary and all that stuff, but again, I have no words to think about, so. And there we go, we got another Jiggy, as you can tell already, so yeah, I'm basically pretty much accomplished certain things, so, but again, that we seemed able to actually know 100% everything, like I said earlier, so in this case, let's double check on the views total count, and it seems that we've only got 2 Jiggies left, yep, I was right, and we're missing 1 Cheeto page left, which, that's not gonna happen until later on throughout the majority of, well, let's say later on throughout the game, actually, so, yeah, we'll pretty much gonna have to able to deal with all that until at the, almost to a point until the end game or something, so, there we go. That's pretty much it for the 5th world. Well, mind you, we'll still be back onto this until whenever we're able to learn every move in the game, so, let's just hop in here, and I suppose before we end off the video here, we need to head back onto the wooded hollow right here, and maybe we can probably tackle through the next Jiggy Wiggy challenge for a while, because after all, we actually got enough Jiggies, like specifically we've got 47 so far, so I think relatively speaking, we are definitely on the halfway point of the game right now, so anyways, let's do Jiggy Wiggy's challenge 8, although, again, I want to stress this enough again, that I know we're actually going to be doing this in an earlier state, but mind you though, because I just want to get these challenges done before we're able to get into, like, what's it say, the longest world before we get into that specific stuff, because mind you, whenever we get into, like, you know, the 6th world, World 7, as we've already done a Jiggy Wiggy challenge from, and especially noticeable with the next world that we're about to be unlocking, God, most of these worlds goes much longer, so, especially huge at the same time, too. And even especially noticeable, we have to do a lot of backtracking whenever we're able to go and just, you know, trying to nab some of these other, like, Jiggies and stuff like that, so. There we go, we've managed to accomplish Jiggy Wiggy's challenge number 8, so, yeah, and I believe we're pretty much almost towards the end of that Jiggy Wiggy's challenges, of course, so I believe we've only got 2 challenges left until we're basically done there, although, mind you, that I'm pretty sure you can only get up to 70 Jiggies if you really want to finish the game normally, but of course I'm gonna go for 100% completion, as you probably guys already know, so. And it does take place back onto Wasteland again, except there is actually that particular cracked hole that we can able to go through, and that pretty much leads us to this particular familiar pathway, which does have a hole, by the way, and if that particular, the power of the mighty Jiggy Wiggy unleashes the laser beam and just managed able to land on the hole and create a bubble. Yeah, a bubble, huh? Okay. Although that pretty much leads us to the 8th world, which, again, we're not going to do that right now, because obviously we still need to learn some more moves before we do anything, so, because that seems totally obvious, so, I guess suffice to say, I think we should probably end things off at this point until we'll head back into Plateau right here. And yeah, that's pretty much as far as I can say. So either way, yeah, I guess we'll end things off here. So join me next time on Let's Play Banjo-Tooie. It's the fact that we're revisiting back onto the previous worlds and then trying to get some jiggies because we got almost every single move. So I'll see you guys on Wednesday. Later, fellas.